We're going to go ahead and get one of such reactions this morning. We've got Japheth or Desonya, who is the Publicity Secretary of June 12 movement. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you for having me.
So, you've been with this movement. How long have you been with this movement?
Yeah, because the June 12 movement is as old as June 12 itself. So it's been 25 years of advocacy, for proper recognition and institutionalization of the June 12 concept.
Yeah,
that concept. Because it has become a concept that the record must be set aright. So what we are witnessing now is just a step. There are more steps to be taken.
This doesn't do it for you?
It hasn't done it. It's part of it, but as cheering as it ought to have been or appear, I am not so fascinated.
Were you expecting it to happen this year?
We did not expect it.
But you've been asking.
I had expected this to happen, or we had expected this to happen in in 2015. So if President Muhammad Buhari, stemming from the consciousness of progressive politics, really appreciates the concept and the record of June 12. He ought to have done this, but we are glad it is happening. And let me put this on the premise of a Latin axiom, that ali scribendo, ali pugnando, magnam laudem consecuti sunt. What does that mean? Some by writing, some by fighting. Great and magnanimous success is achieved. We have achieved something. But we will urge that the president go, a step further.
Hold on here.
Yeah.
He not only declared June 12 Democracy Day, he also gave posthumous awards to GCFR and GCO. And what else exactly are you hoping to... And Gani Fire-Me as well. So what else are you expecting the president to do?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. The June 12 is not only about MKO Abiola. If you want to start mentioning heroes, the list is endless. We will mention Pa Ibrahim Adesonya, Hajjasi, Alfred Riwani, Pa Enahoro, and, Kokori, Wale Okuneyi, Segun Mayegun, but it's not about individuals. It's about the need to do the needful, the desiderantum, what ought to be done.
What's the needful?
Beautiful. That, June 12 presupposes that election must be free and fair. It was the first time in the history of Nigerians after the Civil War, it was like a referendum that we could still cohabit. We really don't have anything against one another. So we showed love, amity, concord, nationalism on June 12th. And it was annulled by a cabal, 25 years ago. And here we are. So President Muhammad Buhari should go a step further by ensuring that what June 12 represents is actualized. What does it represent?
But it represents Democracy Day.
Democracy.
That has been actualized.
What is democracy? We desire constitutional democracy. It is wider than democracy.
So talk about this point. How about the fact that, yes, it's now going to be Democracy Day? Isn't that hugely symbolic?
It's symbolic. He attests to that even in his letter. That just like the administration, agrees with the generality of Nigerians that the June 12 is more symbolic. I kept wondering before now, what was wrong? What is it that is wrong with our administrations, with our leadership? What is it about? But I am happy it is happening. And it's also happening because there is an intra-gang war, intra-political, the ruling elite, the class is in war.
But they've always been in war, and this didn't happen.
This war is different.
But the war
so we will expect more.
No war is the same.
What they have been covering, will be made and thrown into the open. And the people will benefit at the end of the day. Why this is happening is because President Muhammad Buhari himself stands to benefit more.
So should we say...
I stand to be corrected. He stands to benefit more.
All right, so does that mean that because this war is going on, and because, as you say, he stands to benefit more, and then because,
that's why we are saying this.
And then because you wanted to do more, we shouldn't accept this?
We accept this. You know, Chamberlain, don't get me wrong. We accept this. We are saying, in the spirit of this, do the more, do the needful. What more do we need? There must be constitutional democracy, which presupposes that you must also be conscious of the limit in the exercise of your power as an arm of government. You know, there must be separation of balanced power. And that's what we are preaching.
How is that not happening now? Is there an imbalance of power? Don't you have a constitutional democracy? Is it going to happen by fiat?
We don't have constitutional democracy. We have democracy. Constitutional democracy is wider. It's, you know, hugely wider than democracy.
Do you mind breaking it down? Let's one step at a time.
Okay.
Constitutional democracy.
Beautiful.
Know the limits of your powers. You got to that point. So
yeah.
What else?
Then you also enshrine that the fundamental human rights of the citizenry are protected, guaranteed. Then you must obey the law, rule of law. There are instances where the executive flouts court orders. We have that. The record is still replete with that. And it's not too good in a democracy. We don't want to continue with pseudo-democracy. Let's move from this plane to democracy.
But you know, in a democracy, if you say court orders are flouted, the courts are still there for those who may feel aggrieved to go there and seek redress.
Yeah.
So that's part of democracy.
Beautiful.
Isn't it?
It is.
So if that were the case, it would be the courts to determine if those orders have been flouted.
But you also know the malady, you know, with which the judiciary itself is also plagued. You know, no harm of government is spared in this rot. But it's a gradual process. So let's accept this.
So judiciary must do the needful to themselves.
The judiciary.
So how is the president going to ensure that happens? So
the people.
It's an independent arm of government.
Yes.
Okay, so this demand now is for the people. The people.
The people.
Oh.
The people.
Talking about the judiciary and doing the right thing. So, a former Chief Justice of Nigeria, I mean, there have been varied reactions to this declaration by the president. But there's one that stands out. Former Chief Justice of Nigeria says, awarding the GCFR to late MKO is illegal.
I've read that. And when he said that, I think he was referring to the Honorary Act of 1963. You're mentioning Justice Belgore, you know. And he said such honor goes to the living or dead, you know, military generals or, you know, warriors or so. And I said to myself, well, Buhari has taken the matter to the court of the people. And that is superior even to the Constitution. You know, the people, the sovereignty resides in the people. The people can decide to throw away their Constitution.
No, now, that would be anarchy, wouldn't it?
It's another state entirely. Now, Buhari has taken this to the court of the people. The people are happy with it. And you also note that when he mentioned General MKO Abiola was a soldier of the people. He was a soldier of light. He was a generalissimo. Ààrẹ Ọ̀nà Kakanfò. So, more like a general as well. It's not about the khaki or the uniform. That is not what makes you a general. So he deserves it. I don't want to toe the line of the retired Chief Justice. You know, I beg to differ.
So how is your next Democracy Day celebration going to look like?
Yeah, what we are going to do is on June 12th, this time around, we'll be at the, as usual, we'll be at the residence.
As usual? But this will put some spring in your steps now, won't it?
Not really. Let's accept that as a reality.
Accept it.
There's some spring.
You're forcing yourself not to accept it.
We take it. No, we take that. But what we're going to do is we will be naming, you know, that house, you know, on Toyin Street, MKO Abiola's residence, as the Institute for the Nigerian Institute for Democracy and Constitutional Governance. You know.
Is that a decision that was just taken based on this, or you had been planning this before this declaration?
No, the decision came yesterday after this development.
So, okay. Are you saying that decision wouldn't have been taken if this wasn't done?
It would have. It will not. It will come. It might not come now. It might come later. But this, like he had said, it's put some spring, no doubt. You know, the program changed, and we will also be having presidential roundtable. You know, President Buhari himself is invited as a presidential aspirant or candidate. You know, there will be other aspirants.
Not as the president.
Not as the president.
Not as the one
as
who made
aspirant.
this democracy.
He's not even the candidate yet, but as an aspirant, because I am aware of his second term bid. But as an aspirant.
Why as an aspirant?
Until he's declared.
No. I mean, what informs your decision to invite aspirants?
Yeah, you know, just to create a template where people will be able to assess the, presidential aspirants. It's more like a debate, let them market their ideas. The whole thing is about conflict of ideas, and only ideas can resolve them.
Okay, so from your impression now, this is a very good one.
Very good one.
At the moment. But you were talking about some other needs for which you say a lot will also depend on us, Nigerians. But
one more thing is that MKO must be declared president. That's one more thing. Declare him as president that never ruled, that never led. So that we will address him as His Excellency, late Chief MKO Abiola. Then he deserves that.
All right, then a fine place to anchor. Japhet Odestonya is the Publicity Secretary of the June 12 movement. Thank you for coming on this morning.
My pleasure.